�um, Russian, pronounced ggum, an abbreviation of Russian, Glávnyj Universáľnyj Magazín, literally main universal store, is the main department store in many cities of the former Soviet Union, known as State Department Store, Russian, Gosudárstvennyj Universáľnyj Magazín, during the Soviet era, until 1991. Similarly named stores operated in some Soviet republics and in post-Soviet states. The most famous �um is the large store facing Red Square in the Kitai-gorod area, traditionally a center of trade in Moscow. As of 2020, the building functions as a shopping mall. Before the 1920s, the location was known as the Upper Trading Rows, Russian, Verhnije torgovye rjady. With the facade extending for 242 meters 794 feet along the eastern side of Red Square, the Upper Trading Rows were built between 1890 and 1893 by Alexander Pomerantsev, responsible for architecture, and Vladimir Shukov, responsible for engineering. The trapezoidal building features a combination of elements of Russian medieval architecture and a steel framework and glass roof, a similar style to the great 19th century railway stations of London. William Craft Brumfield described the �um building as a tribute both to Shukov's design and to the technical proficiency of Russian architecture toward the end of the 19th century. The glass-roofed design made the building unique at the time of construction. The roof, the diameter of which is 14 meters 46 feet, looks light, but it is a firm construction made of more than 50,000 metal pods, about 743 teeth, 819 short tons, capable of supporting snowfall accumulation. Illumination is provided by huge arched skylights of iron and glass, each weighing some 740 t, 820 short tons, and containing in excess of 20,000 panes of glass. The facade is divided into several horizontal tiers, lined with red finished granite, Tarusa marble, and limestone. Each arcade is on 3 levels, linked by walkways of reinforced concrete. Catherine II of Russia commissioned Giacomo Quarenghi, a neoclassical architect from Italy, to design a huge trade center along the east side of Red Square. However, that building was lost to the 1812 fire of Moscow and replaced by trading rows designed by Joseph Bove. In turn, the current structure replaced both. By the time of the Russian Revolution of 1917, the building contained some 1,200 stores. After the revolution, the �um was nationalized. During the NEP period, 1921 to 28, �um as a state department store operated as a model retail enterprise for consumers throughout Russia regardless of class, gender, and ethnicity. �um stores were used to further Bolshevik goals of rebuilding private enterprise along socialist lines and democratizing consumption for workers and peasants nationwide. In the end, �um's efforts to build communism through consumerism were unsuccessful and arguably only succeeded in alienating consumers from state stores and instituting a culture of complaint and entitlement. �um continued to be used as a department store until Joseph Stalin converted it into office space in 1928 for the committee in charge of his first 5-year plan. After the suicide of Stalin's wife Nadezhda in 1932, the �um was used briefly to display her body. After reopening as a department store in 1953, the �um became one of the few stores in the Soviet Union that did not have shortages of consumer goods, and the queues of shoppers were long, often extending entirely across Red Square. At the end of the Soviet era, �um was partially, then fully privatized, and it had a number of owners before it ended up being owned by the supermarket company Verhnije stock. In May 2005, a 50.25% interest was sold to Bosko Desili AG, a Russian luxury goods distributor and boutique operator. As a private shopping mall, it was renamed in such a fashion that it could maintain its old abbreviation and thus still be called �um. However, the first word Gosudárstvennyj, state, has been replaced with Glávnyj, main, so that �um is now an abbreviation for Main Universal Store.